the Madonna-Whore Complex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is foundational to their worldview. The Madonna-Whore Complex, this is Madonna, not as in the superstar, but as in, like,
The mother of Jesus
the mother
Christ.
of Jesus Christ, our Mother Mary, Madonna from Catholicism. So Madonna is a saint. It's also a mother figure.
Mm-hmm.
So that will become relevant in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at a woman through the lens of a Madonna, we want to see all the sort of socially good things or socially appropriate things about her and her personality. Like, oh, she's loyal, she's great, saintly, all this sort of stuff. Sort of like rose-coloured goggles. And then whore, well, what's a whore? Like, what's a whore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't take much explaining. This comes from a fundamental conflict in our culture around, well, women or men have expectations of women, or women are told by society, or I don't know, it's kind of a bit wishy-washy exactly what they mean, but somehow men and women have got this sort of contradictory idea in their head that a woman is expected to be both a Madonna and a whore.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of problems come from the fact that men idealize, say, their partner through the Madonna lens, but then also want their partner to be like a whore, but then will like stigmatize sexual behavior and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And they offer a few explanations for why this happens, for why men feel that their partners are so pure, Madonna-like, that they can't be sullied by something as unclean as sex.
Yes. Yeah.
So they offer a Freudian argument and say, okay, well, the Madonna is derived from a boy's relationship with his mother.
Yeah.
And incest is bad. And they take their mother to be the Madonna, the perfect woman. When they date and marry another woman, the esteem which they hold their mother in is transferred to their wife.
Yeah, they're projecting their...
And because they don't want to commit incest, the idea of having sex with their wife disgusts them.
Is like imputed to the wife psychologically.
Yeah, so they do things like watch all sorts of fucked up porn.
Yeah. Like,
and enjoy that on some level.
Jump on LimeWire, get some horse porn.
LimeWire.
Just wanted to watch Fight Club.
They'll spend all of their time, their Kuma-addled brains, bent by disreputable websites or file sharing networks. So on some level, they appreciate the whore part of this Madonna-whore dichotomy, but resent her at the same time.
Yeah. It's very similar to the lover-provider thing. You sort of... This is catch-22, where you want two mutually exclusive things from a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll have a dead bedroom because they refuse to have sex with their wife.
Yeah. And again, I just think that there's just probably a high likelihood that one or all of them experienced a loveless, sexless marriage, and then they're trying to explain that retroactively, but without... And here's the irony of their accusations, or their claims that women don't take responsibility for their own emotions, is that this entire book is 3 divorced men not taking responsibility for their broken relationships.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Concocting an elaborate scheme to blame society and evolution of what for their broken marriages.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good description of practical female psychology.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. It's Madonna-Whore Complex. I guess if I'm going to be really charitable, there are aspects of it that might be descriptive, in that obviously, say, with the prevalence of porn, there is desire for women to be performing all sorts of sex acts that men wouldn't want their wives or their girlfriends performing. Or on some level they want the acts, but
They don't
not with a
necessarily
woman
want
that they respect. They won't respect a woman who does it.
degrading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'd say is that, like, society, especially a large, complex society like any industrialized nation, millions of people, will have lots of conflicting perspectives and communicating conflicting messages about, like, is this body image desirable? Is this body image desirable? Or is this how a woman should act? Or is this how a man should act? Or is this acceptable sexual behavior? Is this acceptable? But it's just that there's not like a the thing that I disagree with about these sort of texts, and actually the way that a lot of, like, feminists talk about similar issues, but on the female side, is it's like there's almost this talk of, like, society sends mixed messages, or, like, our culture sends mixed messages to people, as though our culture or our society is like a monolith that has some sort of intentionality, and that intentionality is to confuse people and to send mixed messages. And it's like, no, there's a whole bunch of people living in the same area with a whole bunch of different means and a bunch of different ends and a bunch of different perspectives, and they're all trying to communicate to one another at various scales. And some of them have perspective X and are communicating that, and some of them have perspective not X but Y and are communicating that. And to view them as one sort of hegemonic whole that is communicating mixed messages is just a fundamental misapprehension of the fabric of our reality as social animals. We live in just a highly complex informational environment, and there's going to be opposing points of view in any large, sophisticated society. Don't need to, like, get into borderline conspiratorial ways of attributing mixed intentionality to media and communications.